Hello, everyone. You must all be aware about the fact that there are various microorganisms that are present in our body, particularly the intestines. I'll refer to this as the intestinal microbiota. Now, what if I tell you that the intestinal microbiota can influence our brain functions as well as the functions of the ability of various components to modify and fight with diseases? How do the microorganisms do it? The intestinal microbiota synthesizes an important class of chemicals known as traceamines that is an active area of research. These are chemicals that, in addition to being produced by the intestinal microbiota, are also present in our body in very, very, very low concentrations, hence the name traceamines. Commonly consumed food like red wine, chocolate, and cheese also contain these chemicals. But why are these chemicals important? Traceamines can alter the way the cells function in our body by activating a type of protein called as receptors that have been implicated in various disorders like psychiatric disorders, metabolic disorders, and immune disorders. That is why it is important to understand how the entry of these chemicals into our body can be regulated. So keeping that in mind with my thesis, I am trying to identify a different type of protein called as transporters that transport traceamines into the cells throughout our body. And so far, my research has suggested that traceamines require two different transporters in human intestinal cells. So if you have a look at my slide here, while moving from the intestinal cavity into the intestinal cell, traceamines are transported by a transporter that, with the usage of various chemical tools, I have been able to identify as organic cation transporter 2. But if you look at the other side of the cell, traceamines are transported from the blood into the intestinal cell by a transporter that has not been described before. So currently I'm attempting to identify what the second transporter is. All in all, my thesis will help to identify transporters for traceamines that could act as novel targets towards which drugs can be synthesized to modify the relationship between intestinal microbiota, our brain functions, as well as our immune functions. And this will have significant relevance for the treatment of most common feared disorders like psychiatric disorders, which include depression, anxiety, autoimmune disorders like Crohn's disease, and metabolic disorders like diabetes and obesity. Thank you very much.